like that one? Oh, y'all like that one? Oh, y'all like that one?
Irie.
Let me hear say it, no man.
Irie.
Let me hear say it, no man.
Irie.
Real Jamaican thing, let me understand, no man. Alright, my Jesus Christ is nice like chicken and rice, you see me? Alright, so you don't know, say.
I'm sweeter than spice.
My Jesus nice like chicken and rice, sister. It's nicer. Come on now, talk to me. We're gonna need everyone. Next one. You see? Hold on, man. Hold on, man. One people will enjoy themselves today now. You see, all the young people that can dance. If you know they can dance, you come up on the stage.
Put this on the left is zoom out, right? See?
If you don't want, all my young people that can dance. Come on, son, man. Don't come on the stage, no? Don't be afraid. If you can dance, come on, man. Come on up. Come on up, no, man.
Yo, Julian.
What I'm there? What I'm there?
What's the record?
What I'm there? I'm never gonna kick it out.
Hold on. Yeah, it's a record.
Can dance? So when the spirit of the Lord comes upon me, I want no dance, 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 dance. So when the spirit of the bounce, 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 I want to. Everybody, bounce with me. So when the spirit of the, everybody, who do you ready now? That's people. So if they go on my chick, because I touch me, if they go on, pull up that. All right, I'm gonna tell you how the song goes. It goes like this. When I said, if I go on March Pentecost at church, me I go dance. More everybody say dance, okay? You feel me? So when I said, if I go on March Pentecost at church, me I go. When I say dance, kick it off. If you don't want to come dance with you, enjoy yourself. When you ready again, people, with the box. Give me some volume, give me some volume. To Jesus Christ, you know? M.O.MARCELLO. My Jesus Christ is nice like chicken and rice. Nobody else. So let us part and enjoy ourselves today. Who you ready now? Who you ready now? We have a chamber sit and kid up. Who you ready? We younger, we younger, we younger. Everybody got to speak. Who you ready now? If they go on March Pentecost, I touch me up. If they go on Lindsay Pentecost, I touch me up. If they go on Clinton, you touch me up. If they go on Ebenezer, you touch me up. You can dance me up. Stop it with it. Stop it with it now. Jesus Christ, you know I will dance, make a dance, let AC dance, stop and make a dance. Pull up that! Come and give people, hold on, pull up that now, pull it up. And we're going to enjoy ourselves with Christ today, alright? Okay? Hold on, enjoy yourself, people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I say? If you're from Jamaica, put up your hand. Do you understand what I'm saying, sister? Okay. Well, you see, let's have the enjoy if you want. One more time, people. We're going to do one more time, okay? Are you ready now? So when the spirit of the Lord comes upon me, I want to dance, 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 dance. So when the spirit of the Lord comes upon me, I want to jump, 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 jump. So when the spirit of the Lord comes upon me, I want to. So if they go on March Pentecost, I touch me up. If they go on Lindsay Pentecost, I touch me up. If they go on Greater Mount Cabioli, touch me up. If they go on Ebenezer Baptist, touch me up. They go dance me, you go dance me, you go dance until life away. Everybody ready now? So Jesus Christ, you know I will dance, make a dance like this. Dance like fun, make a dance like Kara in the book. Make dance like Tona in a country, make dance like man to go be a coach. Dance like East West North and South, let me see the Buffy. How we start dancing all the spirit, make a jump and shout and keep career. Back to Jesus Christ is your one. Ready now? So if they go on March Pentecost, I touch me up. If they go on Lindsay Pentecost, I touch me up. If they go on Greater Mount Cabioli, touch me up. If they go on Ebenezer Baptist, touch me up. They go, mix me up, mix me up, mix me. So I go driving in my car and I heard the gospel music playing. Then I start to. Then me step up in the church and me hear the first Steve say. One more kick on the baby. Next try, next try, next try. That's it. One more. Just a little bit. Okay. We love you now. Them say stop.